I did it. I lived in commercial spaces, I think, for 8 or 9 years in New York City, mostly with no windows. Yeah, we had like a house called Band at that West Nile space on Kent Avenue. Do you remember that spot?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. We didn't do many recordings, but we did a lot of performances. It was like me and Carbon and remember that cat Daron? The huge, I don't know, I guess it's just like one part of the tool. I went through years where I just would do like software synthesizers, and then like 5 years where I only use like guitar pedals with like really, oh, that's a nice piece of gear though, actually. Do you know that? This Russian Mystic guy makes these.
Oh.
It's 8 oscillators and you can play them by like closing the circuits. It kind of reminded me of this cat. Do you know the Chiat Lombard synthesizers? Well, because I did like noise stuff for the longest time, and then I came out of like techno.
You think?
This is one of the first things that I saw that felt fun again in that realm, and it's this guy that makes this. He's like this Russian mystic guy. I do listen to my own stuff. Actually, when I was painting most of this, I was listening to Nico's jamming out here, but yeah, I kind of think of all, like, maybe when I started out, I would make music and think of the different things as a way to make the music, and then now, sort of the performances, I try to use elements of visual things, like actual movement or ritual or something, so it's like taking different mediums and putting them together or something.
Yeah. I mean, you just use tapes for the show?
For that show that you came to in a basement, it was just, I didn't do any of the music live. I just had like a bunch of tracks that I would turn on and off, and then kind of did actually just EQ to like bump the, really like riding the subwoofer and then riding the crystalline highs or something.
Yeah.
Every once in a while I do like to do performances where I'm like making the music live, but not as much as I used to. Like in like 2010 or something, I started just playing to like an iPod track or something.
Yeah.
And then doing some kind of movement. But I think that could have been because of how many people, because when I lived on that space on like the South First and Kent thing, I would go to like 15 concerts a week, at least.
Yeah.
And then I would be like, okay, I don't need to make any notes on stage. I've seen enough people like making the notes or doing the tweaking the sounds or something. And it wasn't like that's bad. It's just for me at that point, I had seen so many of it that I wanted to try to do more like things that were like outside of music, but using music or something.
Yeah.
Also, but still to this day, I mostly say that I mostly make music, but like I don't like to do it live as much anymore. I don't know why.
Well, it's sort of like. Is it about presentation or is it about playing?
Right.
Venue is like just as much as performance.
Right. And then that really seems to reinforce like the idea of putting one's self into a certain state for that presentation. 1 hour away from where I grew up. Yeah, these heaters, they get kind of cooking. You can't quite dial them in to like 74 degrees. It's either like freezing or it's like quite warm. I first started out, like my first foray into weird things was through like brainwave entrainment and like different frequency, like beat patterns
like
for different
feedback.
Yeah, but in different patterns for brain activation. But I don't know, like if you turn these up, it will drone. Otherwise, these are contact points. So you hold those down. So that all of the things kind of cross-talk or like modulate one another. Because like I'm only playing this one.
Yeah.
The guy that makes this has really he's like a weird Russian alchemist dude, and like
He's got ideas almost.
he's got ideas, and he talks about like tuning yourself to make the music or something, which I think is an interesting vibe, and not a lot of people talk about that really.
Tuning yourself.
Well, like tuning your own, getting into some sort of space yourself in order to make the stuff, or having some kind of dialogue with what you're making in order to create it or whatever.
Yeah. How does that work with dealing with other people? Your collaborators?
I always try to pick the people where it feels very effortless.
Yeah.
I don't know, at least for me. The people that I most like to collaborate with, I feel like I have the least amount of conversation about what's happening. Or like if we are talking about it, it's like I like just for everybody just to do their own thing and then it come together. You know what I mean? Then it's like picking like your team to like, everybody has their own superpowers or whatever.
Yeah. The bell stopped ringing outside.
Really? Protesting.
I don't know. I don't know about the Orthodox order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the first conversations we had was about the tarot.
Yeah. And you made a whole record about the tarot.
Whole film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it, right?
Yeah. You guys, when you all did that thing at Monkey Town, you guys did an 8-hour performance at Monkey Town, and we filmed part of The Emperor there.
Yeah, on Election Day 2008.
Yeah, for Obama.
Yeah. The Emperor. The reigning Emperor.
Yeah, I remember you gave really interesting. You gave different ballpark of any kind of depictions of the tarot. You were talking about the number 4 being quite unstable, I remember, and which is almost like the opposite of what they talk about it with it, which I really liked, and I have it saved somewhere, like our email exchanges. I think about it. They were really good though. Like, and you're because all tarot is interpretive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like that project for me was even a different form of like zoomed out like collaboration, where like I just tried to give people as little it was like technically the director of the movie or something, but I tried to give people as little input as possible. I just gave collaged religious texts to some people from this book, Meditations on the Tarot, that was actually written by a cardinal in the Catholic Church. And he just used a different like things from Jainism, Hindu Vedanta, Judaism, every different like spiritual thing, but he would use them to describe the archetypes. But he was like, the Pope had that book on his desk, this meditation. I just found that on the street when I was starting that project. But I would just try to see what the other people would do, and then sort of in the same way like what you would do with Acceptor, then like at the end kind of carve out some kind of narrative out of whatever happened.
Yeah. It's a real stretch.
Oh yeah.
It's 3-4 hours.
Hey, it's a stretch for anybody, I think.
True.
Can be.
Which is why I think otherwise, so seeing the video broadcast where you're like, they would have multiple cameras like overlaying the whole thing.
Right.
Viewing the Sufi dances from above, it's just like, this is great.
It was, well, I worked at Roulette for a long time doing sound that way, so I knew kind of more of like I knew like what they were capable of doing. That song has actually been some sort of integral part of like how I do shows, because like I facilitated so many, and then I'm like, and then I always try to play with what's available. That place is amazing. They just have like been like facilitating third art since 47 years.
Like when it rains heavy, you get flooding.
Oh, this is it, and this is like, I keep joking that it's a river here, but...
It's a hill.
But this is just raw land for a while, and then you hit a river. So... well, this heater caught on fire not that long ago.
Shit.
Yeah. I tried to take it back yesterday, and then I had 2 empty things of propane, and I was trying to return the propane for full ones, and they're like, you have to take those out of the store right now. They started like yelling at me, and I was like, yes, but I'm trying to return this propane heater that you sold me that literally did catch on fire in my house, and I know that you're worried about these empty containers.
Yeah, like...
I never did it. I used to do tons of like visual work on paper because I moved around so much.
Yeah.
And all I could have was like a notebook or something this big. And then just in the last couple of years, I started to do bigger stuff, which is still fun. Different apartments, subletting different musician friends that would be on tour.
Yeah.
Bouncing around. I moved like one time with my dog and all my possessions in a rolling suitcase from like the DeKalb L back to the Bedford L. Just walked. I think I lived in like 100 different apartments in New York City in the time that I lived there.
Yeah.
Or at least 100 different rooms, because sometimes I would move between 7 different rooms in weird lofts.
Do you have hoarding sensibilities?
Do I have which one?
Hoarding sensibilities?
No, not really. As a result of that, I never really did. We'll see now that, I don't know. These ones that are outside, kind of experiments for weathering. And this one's just like in progress. I started this like a week ago or something. And I like kind of how they deteriorate. This one, we did like a Vesta ritual. Like the Roman goddess of home and hearth. And this is sort of the...
Isn't it also a car?
Maybe.
I gotta see that Vesta. There should be.
Yeah.
I saw a car the other day called Crossfire.
Oh, yeah. Pontiac, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some kind of...
Look at this. This is my first bumper sticker ever on any car.
Yeah.
Right?
Flying the flag.
This will be our future home. And a guy just came this morning to talk about putting a concrete slab down. And these Amish guys are just going to build it. Little like...
In one day?
Well, they'll bring... yeah, because they'll bring it all of the slabs done. And it'll be built in one day. It'll be like... the only animal I've ever seen here has been a tiny frog. The first time I just happen to really love it up here. But like...
I really like the Hudson Valley.
Yeah.
It's weird that it wasn't like spoken of in whispered tones in the city.
Yeah, not so much.
Like... It's like a shell getting checks offshore. Write-offs.
Yeah, they really just have like chihuahuas with like a live stream going on, like, constantly. Just
You have to they have to know that you're there.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta shuffle around a little bit, fidget in your seat.
yeah.
So you can't have like Ferris Bueller's crash test on.
Yeah.
It's true.
You know where all the rednecks at the gas station like kick arms against the cashiers.
Yeah, we're gonna have to make friends with these gun guys across the street because otherwise we'll be the first hippies they kill.
I told you, I'm gonna head out over there one of these days.
Yeah.
I think I shot a BB gun once.
I've never shot a gun.
If you and Lala want to come and shoot guns, we can go across the street and do it legally.
I'm like, we're better off like hiding in a tree stump and like waiting for these yahoos to split.
Just shoot themselves.
I mean, I feel like at least being able to use one is a good start.
Yeah.
Right? You know.
I used one I went to a Y camp. They had rifles.
What's a Y camp?
Like YMCA.
YMCA. The Young Men's Christian Association.
Yeah. I know it from the hit song.
Yeah, it's
fun to stay there.
Yeah, they got showers. Morrissey stayed there. No, he stayed at the YWCA.
Yeah. Oh, really? That's for the women, right? Gender neutral department.
Yeah. They'll take anyone. You don't even have to be Christian.
Right.
It's just get here.
Those cables?
No.
The icon.
Holy Blessed Virgin here.
Yeah. we got two of them there, and then
some more.
And then this was like a thrift store find of different saints. So we got Joan of Arc there.
Joan of Arc is
Teresa
on
of
fire.
Oh, yeah, of course on fire.
Teresa?
I think that's Saint Teresa
of Avila.
Who's with the dove?
Francis of Assisi, and then you got Saint Jude at the bottom
with the staff.
Stick in the smug face.
Yeah, I didn't grow up Catholic, so I didn't teach about the saints.
Yeah.
As much. Never, like just Christmas and Easter, really.
Right.
Is it safe?
Yeah. It's definitely safe.
Spiritually safe.
Well,
that's what we're worried about.
Oh, you gotta get like one of those glass eyes.
Oh yeah, I have a nice.
The question is like, do you face them outward or inward?
Window?
They need to be facing.
You put them in the window.
You mean like an evil eye?
Yeah. You put them in the window.
That's a good idea. You have that red one.
I have a red one.
You keep bragging about it. I still have yet to see it.
It's in storage. Yeah. Although my sister gave it to me, and you're not supposed to gift it to somebody.
What?
That's what I've been told. That's what my Greek mother tells me. You're not supposed to gift somebody the evil eye.
Shit, I just got one for Christmas.
I don't know. I think it's cool. I think it's fine. I don't know why she says that. She's also like,
well, how do you acquire them then?
What about moving with brooms? Do you move brooms?
Do I move brooms?
I've heard that you're not supposed to move brooms.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I never heard that.
Yeah, I mean, if Zeljko ever touched that broom, it would be after arms.
Really?
No.
Okay, because I brushed with broom with the other one.
No.
Look at this Sphinx here. Nico made that over the last week or so.
Oh, yeah. But as I thought about it, I traced it down to like, oh, I'm just remembering like toys I used to have, or like video games I used to play. Like everything like seemed mystical, but then ended up being
Hasbro. I'm like one of the few people that never got bit by a tick that lived as long as I did in upstate New York.
Yeah, at least not that I know of.
Yeah. Well, mine just these fucks people up, man.
Yeah. Do ticks go after people who are already fucked up? That's right. I'm here to finish you. I can smell weakness. I don't know. Shoved up next to the fondue kit.
I found that
Very disco.
Other things that never get used.
I went by my middle name, Lou or Lewis, until I was like 22. Because in Ohio. Zeljko.
Oh, Zeljko.
Okay, cool name. Kind of the kids made fun of me. Whatever. And then when I started at Oberlin, then they were like, no, we'll call you Zeljko. That's a pretty cool name. And I was like, okay.
As someone whose name is Nicole.
What does Nicole mean?
Nicole is victory of the people. It's like Nicholas, Nicole, Nico, that whole.
Okay.
So it basically is just like another iteration of victory.
Huh.
Yeah.
Zeljko, what does your name mean?
Means wish.
Wish.
Yeah. Which I used as my performance name for a little while, but it was like at a time when if you tried to Google it and you knew other things about me, you couldn't find it anymore. Yeah, my mom was, she was born in, she's Serbian, this older guy, but my mom calls me the other day, like Tuesday or Wednesday or something, and she's telling me some story it was a quite inconsequential story, but she couldn't wait to tell me that some guy had been hitting on her in this parking lot of like a store and like helped her back out.
Yeah.
She's got a super white little Impreza Subaru too, and he was helping her back out because she mostly just likes to pull forward.
Yeah.
And then go forward through the parking space, and then the next day she's like, well, me and this guy have been talking on the phone, and then the next day. She went over to his house on like a date, and she's like, well, we were listening to Al Green, and we were dancing around, and then we were kissing, and I was like, what? So like my 82-year-old mom's still getting it too.
Wow. Still got it.
She's yeah.
Oh yeah.
But you're not supposed to say still.
Right. Never. Yeah.
She's got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby, she's got it.
Yeah, Bananarama.
That's a good song.
The overall look. Dirty hair.
Dirty hair and overalls.
Yeah. But also like 3 girls in a band that all sing in unison, but not harmony.
Right. It's kind of a cool vibe, actually.
Yeah.
Polyphony, lead vocals. I like harmonic lead vocals.
Yeah, it's rare. It's hard to pull off.
Does that happen a lot anymore?
You got to get a powdered wig and a quill and make a classic one. It could be an Apple pen.
Yeah.
And you can do, you know.
Well, you study the classics and the Beethoven, all that, and then you end up doing Rent or like playing in Hamilton for you.
Yeah.
In Nebraska or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, what are you devoted to? Is it just like being a musician?
Yeah.
Is it about the gig?
My favorite thing still is to make music, though. I love to make music.
Yeah.
In whatever way. I don't have a powdered wig yet. Enough candlelight.
Starting a powdered wig factory in here.
Yeah.
Get syphilis on purpose.
Oh, I found your pendulum, by the way.
Oh, yeah, where was it?
Here.
Ah!
Here you go.
Oh, a pendulum.
Yeah, you can. It's like a magic 8-ball.
Yeah. Did you read Tintin as a kid?
Tintin's cool.
You read it.
A little bit, yeah. Very disco.
The mad professor character.
I found it.
Who he can't hear, so there's all that like there's a lot of humor about the professor not misunderstanding what people are saying and getting angry out of nowhere. But he follows the pendulum.
Oh, really?
This summer, get ready.
Yeah.
What's that?
I said this summer, get ready.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have to do some divining.
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't seen like a lot of critters either. Like, we're looking to get a big garden.
Do you get a magic stick collection?
No, but there's a bunch of sticks out there that the previous owners of the land.
I've got way too many. So.
You got way too many. I'll take some off your hand.
But there were times when I would have one and then it would explode and I'd have to go out and get another.
It would literally explode?
Yeah.
Give me the chills.
What's that?
Give me the chills. To be like, my medium is evil. You know?
I mean, sometimes you meet people like that.
Yeah.
That is true.
People that just like attract badness and chaos. But the thing that I like about at least the last two performances I saw of yours, the one at Roulette and the one at the basement, was that there was a real sense of like that childhood innocence and like a very homey vibe.
Yeah.
You know, like it didn't feel. It felt like centered. Like even with all the chaos and like lights, over stimulation. Maybe it was because of the tent and
that was Nico's. Yeah, that tent was the anchor. It was like the sanctuary amongst the chaos, I think.
Yeah, but
actually, I didn't even.
I mean, it also like had flashlights under covers.
Yeah.
Even with like the projecting the moon on things, like it had that
Right.
Yeah.
Well, those things, like a lot of those things for people's childhoods are ways to find comfort and order out of what the big world seems to be chaotic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because of the early anchoring methods, the ones that a lot of people really don't know.
that set of tracks you have on Bandcamp called Disorder, is that when did you make that?
That is actually that's pretty old. That's the first. That's me taking all of these chaotic acoustic instrument sounds. I started that as soon as I went to Oberlin. So I made like techno stuff in the 90s and through raves, and then I went to Oberlin in 2002, and for some reason just as soon as I got there I started studying electronic music and acoustic composition, and then like wanted to try to shape chaotic timbres into like an order. Actually, that was kind of like, and then I called it Disorder, but then used a circle with the logo or whatever.
Yeah, black on black. But all those collections are like collections of things made over long periods of time.
Yeah. That was like 2002, 2003.
Okay.
And then that.
But the dance-oriented stuff that is called The Exit, is that recent? More recent?
No, that's 99 to 2001. Yeah. That's what I made like when I was throwing raves before I went.
Yeah, because it sounds like Basic Channel.
Yeah. Yeah, 90s, and then the stuff that's on there. When I went to Bard and worked with that lady Marion Amache, that's when I did that Red and Blue album, which is what I did some of that binaural as like 2005, 6, 7. I've always made a ton of stuff, and then I don't know, for some reason when I was like, I'd never put any of it out, like when I was living in New York City. Then just slowly over time recently I've been starting to put things out. I have like so much stuff recorded that I haven't put together. Like I did an 8-hour album not that long ago at the beginning of
I listened to it like after I got home that night. And like, because it's like a night, for me to go to a basement, it's like a night journey.
Yeah.
I have to take, there's like, the last train home is like 1:45 and gets in at 4, but I try to, but even though you get in at 4, 3, or 2, and so the train back from the city is not the train to the city. The train to the city is like you're going through mystical realms of mountains and castles and bridges and rivers, and it's like the train is right on the water, you know.
Yeah.
But then at night, like it's dark, and they have the lights on in the train, and you're basically just staring at a piece of rubber.
Yeah.
And uncomfortable. No, I'll listen to the tune. I listen to the tunes, but I don't remember it. And then when I get back, I have to decompress. So I decompress by listening to 8 hours. Like,
cool.
I made it through 5 of the hours.
Wow.
Right on.
And it kind of, I think 6, it kind of picks up at one point where it gets less vibey and a little bit more like hectic.
I actually based it off of like projected sleep schedules or like cycles.
Like you'd listen to it while you're sleeping?
Yeah, I made it and ordered it over like at the beginning of the pandemic or whatever, and like it was the first time that I started studying like what happens to the brain over that 8 hours or something like that. I'm like by no means it was like like a Rube Goldberg interpretation of his like scientific practices. But yeah, like so, like I would do it and kind of structured it timeline-wise based on like what felt the most successful over the course of an evening, and or over sleeping.
Successful sleep.
But I don't know if that means staying asleep or like when it would wake me up at interesting times, or like I've always kind of had like some sort of like astral or like lucid dreaming thing, and I would say that like how I ordered it and sequenced it was in a way that I had the most successful lucid dreams over the 8-hour period or something like that. But I was just gonna.
So lucid dreams.
Lucid dreams is where you're like sort of cognizant in the dreaming, and then you can have some sort of agency towards shaping them or something like that.
Yeah. I find when I begin to lucid dream, I'll do some sort of Icarus thing, like, oh, I can fly, but then I'll just crash.
Oh, really?
But I'll crash because, like, I'm like, what's the point of doing anything? Like, if you can do everything.
Why do anything, huh?
Yeah.